what Black Americans don't get about Africans, reds, yellows, browns, and yellows. As of late, I've seen countless Black Americans make videos referring to how the Latinos are now baffled and feel betrayed by Donald Trump and the other Republicans who are not receptive to them and sending them or their relatives back to the countries in which they are actual citizens. We're seeing the Browns, like the Indians, for example, even some Arabs, feeling betrayed. They supported Trump, and now they are getting what many Black Americans call a wake-up call. We see the same thing with so many of the yellows now complaining, feeling betrayed because they still can't get into the schools that they thought Black Americans were blocking them from. Oh, the Africans. Yes. There's a lot going on with the Africans. They are feeling betrayed. They're getting their wake-up call, and they're actually seeing the depths of the problem. It's much better than just trying to be a model citizen. There's much more to it than that. I get the impression that Black Americans don't fully understand the psychology, and not only the colonization of the mind, but the colonization of the spirit of the Africans, the reds, the browns, the yellows. Africans, reds, browns, yellows. I have to make sure I mention all of them. So first thing I'll say to my Black brothers and sisters, one thing that's unique about our socialization is that we realize the only way to move is forward. You have to speak truth to power. That's the only way to improve your plight. And the best way to improve your plight is to do so collectively. We understand today they come for you. Tomorrow, they can come for me. We've experienced this in the wilderness of North America for hundreds of years now. So through our persistent efforts, fighting in the Civil War, fighting in everywhere, going all the way back to Crispus Attucks, the first man to die in the cause for American independence. Crispus Attucks, the 6'4" Black man. We've seen this occur throughout our history here. Our history in America is longer than most of the white Americans' history in America. And we see this racial hierarchy for what it is. Now, one interesting thing about our culture, we saw how lame, how pathetic, how anti-God, how wicked it is to betray someone else just so you can have freedom or liberty. We see how pathetic it is, how weak it is for you to be okay with someone else's oppression just so you can avoid your own oppression. However, this is a way of life for the Africans, the reds, the browns, and the yellows. They're anti-humanity. They're extremely inhumane. Let me give you a little bit of insight. We'll start with the Asians. Now, people say often Thailand has never been colonized, and this is true. This makes a world of difference. However, look at Siam. Look at how many times pieces of their country was lopped off and taken by European powers. Modern Thailand is probably half or a third of what it was before the colonial powers began to take their lands. The modernization, now this word is important, modern and modernity. The Thais were brought into modernity by the Westerners, by the Brits, and by the Americans. But one interesting thing that you see about that is when they're teaching them how to create a newspaper, how to grid the roads, bringing modernization in a technological sense, but in a spiritual, in a social, cultural sense, instilling in them white supremacy. Now we see this in Thailand. You can see a Thai family walking down the street, they'll walk right by you. You can see a Thai woman walking down the street, she'll walk right by you. But let her be walking down the street with a white man, all of a sudden, she's afraid of you. And we see this. I saw it in America, and I also saw it in Thailand. We see deference to whites, but also we see extreme anti-black racism. Now, Thailand is a foreign place. That's true, but also I'm just sharing with you an angle that hardly anyone is going to talk about. In the 1980s, the Western financial institutions cheated Thailand badly, yet you still see outright submissiveness, even from Thai men to white men. You'll see racism in Thailand, and you'll see racism in the United States by the Thais. Of course, not all. Another thing that you see as related to the Asians, like take, for example, the Japanese. These are some really racist people, but they are so submissive to the whites and have the audacity to be inhumane, to be disrespectful to the blacks. Why is that? Well, for one, after World War II, when Japan was modernized, right, in the technological sense, their educational system was sanitized by the Americans. And along with that came the notion of white supremacy and the notion of black inferiority. But just, if you go back and look at the images from the 19th century, you see some really dark-skinned Japanese, even what we would consider today to be black. Throughout Asia, Asians are very racist, anti-black people. But what trips me out about all of this is how submissive, how they actually worship the whites. Now, I'm from the South, and being a man from the South, we appreciate manhood, but not just being macho, right? I mean, things like being polite to children, teaching children the right way, but also having self-respect. That's important to us. But the man who is disrespectful to one man because of his race, but you're submissive to another man because of his race? I don't respect it. So I made in this video, and I'll use some really forward language just for the effect. But Americans, black Americans, you don't realize how bitch ass these Asian people are. We see the same with Latinos. And I've been to a few different Hispanic, Latino countries. These people are all mixed up psychologically and genetically. They have black, white, and indigenous red blood. But they denigrate their black blood. They worship their white blood, and they're dismissive of their red blood. Those indigenous people, they don't care about those people. The only time they ever think twice about those people is when we say the Olmecs were black. All of a sudden, now they care. They're like the modern Egyptians in that regard. They don't care about Kemet. They don't care until we say Kemet was black. Then all of a sudden they have great interest in it. So that's how the Latinos are. Black Americans don't get. These people are extremely racist because they learned it in their home country. They've learned that a mixed blood person is superior to a pure black person, which is why in India, in Thailand, in Philippines, in Mexico, the black people are marginalized. And I mean real black people like me and you. There are black people in all of those places, but they're marginalized. Now, let me get to the Africans. Next to the Filipinos, they're the most thoroughly colonized. The only place in the world that can compete with the Africans for internalization of white supremacy and purchasing of skin lightening cream, both of which go hand in hand, the Filipinos. The Africans have all of the natural resources. They had the original form of Islam. They had the original form of Christianity. They had all of the gold and ownership of the gold, cobalt, etc. All of the natural resources, the oil. But now those oil wells, those gold mines are owned by Western companies. Even in the North, black people, melanated people, indigenous African melanated people calling themselves Arab. While all of this is going on, they're dispossessing indigenous black people in Darfur and in the Nuba Mountains in Sudan. This is all disgraceful. We see this taking place, some variation of this, all over Africa. And so the Africans, they come to America. They see the blacks. All of these people, they see the Black Americans. They see the Black Americans, many of them ascending, but they see common everyday Black Americans. Some of the Blacks whose minds and spirits have not evolved to where they need to be to get out of our spiritual and financial impoverishment. So what do? They pass judgment on the lower strata of the Blacks, and then they try to tell themselves that they are superior. But is it something that the Black Americans are doing? No. It's the tribalism that they learned before they even got to America. So I guess this is the ultimate point of what I want my fellow Black Americans to understand. When they come to America, and I'm talking about the Africans, the reds, the browns, and the yellows, when they come to America, they already have in their minds staunch white supremacy and Black inferiority. In India, for example, the actual Black people are marginalized, looked down upon. The browns think of themselves, and then we're talking deep dark brown. They think of themselves as better than the highly melanated people. And of course, they think of the whites, the really fair skinned Indians, as being better than them. They've internalized this. They try to manipulate this. They try to marry up. This is what's going on in their minds and in their spirit. For example, Mahatma Gandhi is a staunch white supremacist and anti-Black racist. His appeal was to accept the racism against Blacks in order to work out a better deal, absence of this brutality by the whites. None of these people, Africans, yellows, browns, reds, they don't harbor resentment against their colonizer. They are spreading the butt cheeks of these whites as wide as they can so they can fit their noses in snugly. So, my fellow Black Americans, you need to circle the wagons. The foundational Black American movement, you attack them, you're an idiot. Be indifferent. But you want to Black American people for organizing themselves, for appreciating their own bloodlines, for celebrating their own ascendancy in the United States. But also at the same time, you want to ride for these anti-Black Africans, yellows, browns, and reds. You want to pave the way for the anti-Black Africans, yellows, browns, and reds. This doesn't make any sense. And who are the people who are suffering the most at the hands of these people's discrimination? It's the Blacks at the bottom who are struggling to come out of physical, spiritual, and financial impoverishment. Your perspective is elitist. You're only looking at financial class or some bullshit ideology. If you're defending people who have anti-Black racism in their spirits, the most anti-Pan-Africanist people are the Africans and the Caribbeans. They've had independence coming up on 60 years. The Africans have all of the resources, yet you see nothing there but tribalism. And the Congo should have long ago come out of tribalism and warfare with each other to have stability, but we still see it there. Nigeria, you still see it there. And then what happens when these people, when they go to South Africa or when they go to Kenya, they say, oh my God, these people are wretched. We can't wait for them to get out of here. What happens when they come to America? You see how wretched the Somalis are. You see how wretched the Nigerians are. But you want Black Americans to be receptive to these people. That's idiotic. Circle the wagons, Black American people. Be pro-Black American. Do it for love. That Black American pride has kind of decreased over the years. The more access to education, the more ascendancy you see traitorous people like Jasmine Crockett. She's leading the whole sister girl crowd into an anti-Black mindset, an anti-Black political action, or anti-Black political inaction by dragging us into supporting migrants with racism in their spirit, illegal migrants at that. All of these drivers on the road who don't have the proper training and documentation. So what I'll say, it's been time. It's been time for the Black Americans to splinter off away from the Democrats and splinter off from the blacks who perpetuate white supremacy. And some of you'll perpetuate yellow, brown, any kind of supremacy over black. We see it in your beauty standards. You're paying money for the disgusting real hair of people who hate you. The ancestors, they're looking down at us. And you know what they're saying? They're looking down at self-respecting original people of the earth. Those, even if they don't have the same religion, they still have that same spirit of the original religion. And they're clapping us on. They're encouraging us to move forward against seemingly insurmountable odds. So let's go, Black Americans. Let's go, self-respecting, proud Black people from all over the world. But we all know what it is. Who's the vanguard? It's the Black Americans. So let's shed the cloak of white supremacy, disgusting beauty standard, the religion that tells you you were born in sin. No, the original Christians say you were born divine. Divinity is your nature, not sin. The Ottoman Turk Arab religion, they equate black with sin. But this is all just justification to steal good land. Let's go, Black America. Oh, subscribe to the channel Black and Gold and visit the website blackandgold.us. Let's go.